Hi everybody, today we're going to be carrying on with looking through my colouring book collection, and today might be a little bit of a shorter video. I do have quite a substantial pile of books here to be looking through, but I don't really have a lot of time to be filming today as it's getting a little bit late in the day and it's going to be starting to get dark soon. We don't have much daylight here in Britain in the winter time, so I will start straight away with this book here. And this is by Nenny Thomas, a fairy colouring book by Nenny Thomas. Just to give you a bit of an idea of the kind of pages we do have, I'll show you a few. She's along the same kind of lines as Selina Fenwick, if anybody hasn't heard of Nenny Thomas. These are the same kind of gothic fairy sort of pictures that Selina Fenwick likes to do. I have coloured a couple in here, and the very first picture I have coloured, that's this one here. And as usual, I've done the butterflies and the fairies' wings as my kind of monarch style that I like to do. And I think she is mostly coloured pencil on this one. I think maybe I based it with watercolour or gouache paint if I remember right, but I do remember having trouble getting the pencils to work for the skin here, so I'm thinking maybe markers might be a good idea to use in this book as the paper is quite shiny, but this was before I got my alcohol markers, so that wasn't really an option. I based everything with watercolour, I think, then came in with pencils and white gel pen over the top. I don't think there's even any gold pen or anything on this one. This is all pencil, kind of gold shading going on there. Lots of white gel pens for sparkles. And yeah, I was really pleased with how she came out there with the orange and the blue working together, a little bit of green. Yep, really pleased with how she came out. And again, I'll try and move it pretty fast as we will be losing the light, and I do have quite a few books to get through. This is the other one I've done in this book. And this is my second time trying to film, so I've taken off the bookmark there, but this is one that I did colour last year. If you remember, all the ones I coloured last year do have the bookmarks in them. And for this one, I brought in a lot of collage. I wanted to try out collage as more of a colouring sort of medium, after watching some videos by Colour and Collage with Ems, who's really super good at getting the collage into the pictures and using it as a medium by itself. So I wanted to try a few different things here. So I ended up removing most of the background, I think, of this one. There was a few flowers and leaves and grass and stuff going on there that I wasn't really planning on colouring. I just coloured this flower, the mushrooms and the horse. And then everything else is collaged on. These wings are from a book, a colouring book of butterflies that has illustrations on the opposite page, so I just cut out some wings and found some that covered up the wings that were drawn in there. The rest of the background I got rid of, and I added in this galaxy background there from some scrapbooking paper. I've added in a couple of butterflies. I think there were actually a couple of butterflies drawn in there, so I've added in a couple of butterflies, and I added in these extra leaves as well, just to fill up a little bit of space and see if I could get the hang of bringing in these little bits of leaves and putting them into the picture as a little bit of extra detail. And yeah, pretty happy with how he turned out. There's a bit of an experiment with collage as it goes. Yeah, pretty good. It wasn't a picture I was a total fan of in the first place, so yeah, I wasn't really too worried about potentially messing it up, but yeah, I think it ended up working out all right. I did add in a little bit of glitter glue onto these wings again, to go for the sparkly fairy sort of look. There we go, we got that glittering away. He does have glittery wings there, my little horse. So those are the ones that I've coloured in the Nenny Thomas fairy colouring book. And I've tried to put the books together on the top here where I only have one by that author, so there's a few kind of single books here before I move on to my artist books. This one is The Women of Tours. This is by Lisa Johanna or Johanna. I've coloured a couple in here, and one of them is one that I coloured last year. We do have our little bookmark there. I think it's the first one we're going to come to. But this book has a lot of lady characters in it from a book that I think Lisa has actually written, and she's drawn the pictures of the characters from the book. So it's a lot of kind of portraits of ladies, pretty much, this one. Which is just my style, just my jam really. I do love to colour my portraits of ladies. I have coloured a couple of these. This one is from last year. And this one is a video on the channel showing how I got this kind of glowing tattoo effect here that I did on a picture by Jashly, and I thought you guys might be interested, so I went ahead and I coloured this lady here with her glowing tattoos. I think she is Marcus yeah, we have mainly a marker base there over most of it, and then pencil shading over the top. I think her top here is collaged. I wanted it to look kind of like buckskin because this lady is from like a native tribe, so I wanted it to look like she had a buckskin tunic going on there. The background, I did it with like a complete colour of alcohol marker, and then I splashed on some, I'm not sure if that's nail varnish remover or perfume that I sprayed on there to get this kind of effect with the alcohol marker. And that's something, if anybody does want to try that, use at your own risk, because I'm not entirely sure whether that will damage the paper or not, but it does give a nice effect, and it doesn't really bother me too much of my pages being archival or anything like that, because the whole fun for me is getting the page done and having the fun colouring the page. I'm not really too bothered if my pages don't last forever, but it does give that nice kind of splatter effect there. And I darkened up the corners. I think that's that might be with another marker over the top, I think. Yeah, it is 2 layers of marker, then the splashing effect, and I think I might have brought in some chalk pastel to give this kind of light glow around Our Lady. I'm not entirely sure, I can't remember to be honest, but yeah, that is one that I've coloured in here anyways. And there is another one who is also a video on the channel, I think, or a series of videos where I coloured this one for, I think, St. Patrick's Day. I coloured this one, tried to give this lady a kind of Celtic look going on there. She's the lady from the front cover, so I kind of took the colour palette from the front cover, did my own little version of it, and I think she is Castle Arts for some parts, Arteza pencils for some parts. And this background is Super Tip as watercolour. I think I coloured the background with Super Tip and then blobbed water on top, if I remember right. I'd have to go back and watch the video. As I said, I can't remember. But yeah, that ended up bleeding over the edges here, but we went ahead and fixed that actually on the video. And yeah, quite pleased with how she did turn out with the orange and the green colour scheme going there, and little glowing mushrooms around the edges. And she is a video on the channel, that one. That is the Women of Tour by Lisa Johanna or Johanna. Next we have the Grimm Fairy Tales colouring book. I've done a few in here, mostly this year, this one. There is a few artists for this book, so there's a lot of different style pages. That is a list of the artists, which hopefully isn't glaring too much there. Yep, there's a lot of artists there. I don't know which ones did which page. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite say that, but I will go ahead and show you the ones I have coloured in here. The first couple are using collage. This first one I really like, actually. Yeah, this one was a watercolour page, one I did last year. A wallpaper page, not watercolour. Gosh, yes. It was a wallpaper page with the suit of cards with the symbols going around the back like that, just in a repeating pattern. And I wanted to bring in the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland to have these playing cards in the background. I thought that fitted in quite nicely. So I blacked off the edges of the wallpaper page, just did that with either a black acrylic or a black marker, I can't remember. I coloured in this strip in the middle here, I think with acrylic markers, and some gold Sharpie around the edges of the playing card symbols. I found this picture of, I think it's Mary Queen of Scots, from a book about kings and queens, and I used her body. This head is from another colouring book to give the Tim Burton Queen of Hearts there with a really big head that she has. A crown I stuck on. There's some stick-on jewels, and I do like to add text to my collages, and I thought this fitted in really nicely with the off with her head there from Alice in Wonderland, and I'm really pleased with that one, how it turned out. I do love her. She was super fun. Oh, there's some heart stickers as well on her dress, just for the Queen of Hearts theme. So yep, there's that one. We have another one that was a watercolour page. Wallpaper, not watercolour. I've got watercolour on my mind at the moment. There we go, there's this one that hopefully not glaring too much in the lamps there, but this one was the wallpaper pattern here, and I wanted to turn that into an actual wallpaper with bringing in this room scene. And this one is a video on the channel where I cut out the room scene from a page from a magazine, an advertisement feature where they were talking about furnishings and stuff. I cut out all the furniture and stuck that on after I'd coloured the background with marker. I blocked out a frame around the edge with, I think, silver Sharpie, and then I added this washi tape just as a little bit of a frame. I'm hoping that isn't glaring too much in the lamps, but yeah, that one is a video on the channel there. Another fun one, way to use the wallpaper pages without leaving them. There's a lot of wallpaper pages in this book, and usually, yeah, I don't colour them at all. The next one was a work in progress that I finished. So I'll pop a little picture up here of what she looked like. And there wasn't much left to do on this one at all, to be honest. I think there was a little bit of skin. I'd gotten a bit bogged down with detail on this one, I think. So I just had to buckle down and get on and finish things. So there we go, that's what she looked like. And this is the finished page. There we go, super cool when she's done. I do love this Day of the Dead lady. I'm not sure she's meant to be a superhero or something, but yeah, I really loved her and really happy to get her finished. There wasn't that much to do. I think her arm or something, a little bit of detail on the necklace and stuff like that. I stuck on a few stick-on crystals. Finished off with markers and pencil shading. It is markers. It was originally markers. I think Touch Cool markers, this one, my first original set. I went in and did the pencil shading, stuck on some stick-on crystals, and I added some coffee in the background here. You can see a little bit of a wash around her head, hopefully. Yeah, I added in a little bit of wash of coffee with a bit of pencil shading. I gave her a white outline to stand out a little bit from the background, and yeah, I'm really pleased with her. Really love her. I'm not entirely sure why I left her to the side for such a long time. I think it was the details that I was getting a bit bogged down in, and yeah, really pleased to get her done. So that one is the Grimm Fairy Tales book, adult colouring book there. Kind of a comic book style one, that one. Lots of comic book style ladies. I have the Briar colouring book. I don't think there is an artist mentioned for this one. It's just Briar wherever you look in Eastgate, so I'm not entirely sure who the artist who drew them is. And yeah, if anyone hasn't seen this book, there is some kind of inspiration pictures in the back that you can use for colour schemes if you want to. And we have some lovely illustrations. I'll go back to my butterfly in a second. Yeah, those are the kind of illustrations you can expect in this book. This is the one that I've coloured. I coloured this one last year. Just get rid of the bookmark. And this one was to demonstrate, I'll zoom in editing so you can see there, to demonstrate different methods of pencil combinations of colouring gold with different pencils there. And I sort of did a video showing combinations for each different brand of pencils that I had that I was working with. Yeah, I think they all work really well. So yeah, you can do gold with pretty much any pencils. I think Crayola is one of them. Yeah, we had that working really well with Crayola. The jewel is also Crayola. There's some white gel pen, and I've stuck on some little crystals, little crystal jewels, because there were circles drawn there, I think, if I was remembering rightly. So yeah, that's my little butterfly. I really need to go ahead and colour a bigger picture in this book, because I've had this one at the beginning. Where are we? Yeah, that one I have had picked out for Halloween for the last 2 or 3 years, I think. And I keep being too scared to colour it in because I really don't want to mess it up. But yeah, I really need to colour some more in that book. That is a gorgeous book. That is the Briar colouring book there. I have Jade Summer, my one and only Jade Summer here. This is the fantasy colouring book by Jade Summer. This has 2 copies of each page, 25 designs, 2 copies of each page, and I have just started a work in progress in this one for this month. I'm not sure if I will go ahead and finish it. I was testing out some pens, but these pages are very complicated with lots of Art Nouveau style kind of patterns around the outside. And the one that I've started, I can find her, here she is, the Egyptian queen with the snake, because I was planning on doing a few pictures of snakes this month. So far I've only done one, unfortunately. I don't know if you'll be watching this in January or February, but yeah, my theme for January was snakes, and this lady does have the snake there, and I was testing out the Ohuhu water-based markers to see how it worked on this paper, and they're working okay, but the paper does tend to suck up the colour. It just makes the pen feel really dry, even when it isn't, and I'm not entirely sure I like how the pens feel on this paper, so I might finish it with different pens, or I might leave her like that, because there is 2 copies of every page, and she was just a test of pens. So that is the only one that I've actually started in Fantasy Colouring Book Art Nouveau by Jade Summer. This is another book that I haven't actually coloured in, this one, Unfathomable, that's hard to say, Volume 1 by Thimsy Whimsy. This one was a Christmas present last year, as in 2023. This one was a Christmas present. There are some gorgeous pictures in this one, but some of them are quite small. That could do with being like the whole page, if you see what I mean. It could do with being the whole page instead of really small. So what I plan to do is scan them in and print them out myself, maybe enlarge them a little bit. I love this one, and get those pages up so I can actually colour them with a bit more detail in them. But I do have that one, and I haven't coloured in that one yet. That is Unfathomable, Volume 1 by Thimsy Whimsy. I have a couple of books by Crook Publishing. I have this one that is Dark Beauty. I have a work in progress, and I have one that's actually finished in this one. I think this is the one with the good paper, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, this is the one with the good paper. The other one, not so much good paper, but in this one I do have a one work in progress and a one finished page. I'll show a kind of snapshot again of the kind of pages you do get. More on the darker side, these images, but kind of I like that gothic sort of vibe that we have going on. So I'll show you what I have actually worked on in here. One of them is a work in progress that's yeah, not one I'm sure that I will go back and finish. It was just messing about with some of my really old markers and laying down a bit of a base there. So that is technically a work in progress, though not really one I'm sure I will go back and finish. But we do have that one, and the other one is towards the back. Let's find it. There we go. There we are. There's that one at the back, and this one was with markers and pencil shading when I had ravens as a theme for the month. I did change the background very slightly, but she's just markers with pencil shading, as I said, and I brought in some gold star stickers for the sleeve of her robe because it was looking a little bit plain there, so I brought in the gold. Gave her white hair to go with the black raven and stand out from the black raven. I do love all these antlers in the background, super cool. But yeah, that is the one that I've actually finished in this book. Quite happy with that one. Dark Beauty, that one, Mystic and Fantasy by Crook. This one is also a Dark Beauty one. Just says horror colouring book, this one. Again, the same kind of style of pictures. Nothing too gory, just sort of dark fantasy really, more than anything. Not everybody's cup of tea, I do get that, but I do like these kind of gothic style pictures. This is the one that I was working on here, and because yeah, I'll show you, this one was a work in progress, so I'll pop this one up here to show what it looked like before I started working on it. And the paper was really letting me down in this book. It is really terrible paper. It's really soft, doesn't take pencil, markers don't work super well. The colours seem to look a bit dull, so that was why I'd kind of ground to a halt on that one. I couldn't make the paper work, but this is one I did actually go ahead and finish last year. One of the works in progress I finished last year, if I can get the page. Yeah, and I love how it turned out. I really love it. I did actually carry on with the markers. I tried to shade her hair just with markers instead of trying to bring pencil into that, and I think that's worked really well with those shades of brown there. I think we've got a nice hair kind of detail going on. I give her skin a marker base. These birds I did just with acrylic markers, giving a kind of painterly sort of effect to the acrylic markers, as if they'd been painted with acrylic paint. I thought they work quite well. I stuck on some jewels for their eyes because I couldn't make the black stand out too well to look like they had eyes going on, so I stuck on some stick-on crystals. And there's a lot of collage for this one. I covered up her crown with some watercolour kind of flowers from a scrapbooking page. I added on these wings from another kind of tutorial page I'd sort of half coloured. I added on these little wings because she did have wings on her face. And her dress here, that's actually cut out and stuck behind there, the colour for that dress, and just shaded a little bit. get straight there. Background, if I remember right, I coloured with an acrylic marker, but it was looking a little bit splotchy because there was gold on there originally, and that was making it look a little bit splotchy. So I tried to combat that by going over the top with an alcohol marker, which didn't really work. So then I ended up dabbing with some hand sanitizer gel to see if I can get some texture going on there to maybe get something working. And I think it did end up working really, really well. I think it's ended up looking like, you can get it in the lamp there without knocking the camera. It ended up looking like crushed velvet, which I was really, really pleased with. Yeah, I do like how that kind of background colour has turned out, and that's showing up super well on the camera. But yeah, it does look really kind of yeah, like crushed velvet with some kind of dull patches. There we go, with some kind of dull patches, some shiny patches. And I think it works super well. Kind of hard to see unless it's right in the light, but yeah, we can see in that top corner. That is quite a nice effect in the background. But anyway, that is the one that I've coloured in the Dark Beauty horror colouring book for adults by Crook Crook. We have some Hannah Lynn ones now. I did buy a lot of Hannah Lynn books when she had her sale on Amazon last year at some point. This is Hannah Lynn Early Works Grayscale. And the first one is a video on the channel, and it is one I coloured last year. There we go. I won't show you any of the pages because, yeah, we all know Hannah Lynn. This is one I did colour on the channel as a kind of wind down. Let's colour in grayscale. Nice, simple, easy Hannah Lynn. Yeah, really pleased with how that turned out. I think she is markers. I marked most of her. And then I did pencil shading over the top maybe. I used metallic watercolour for these stars in the background and some chalk pastel. I think that's what I used. Oh, and some little star stickers I put on for her bows there. I tried to colour her like Rainbow Bright, back from the 80s cartoon series. I did love Rainbow Bright, so I tried to colour like her. And this book has a dark grayscale and a light grayscale version of each image. We did... yeah, that is the light grayscale. We did colour the dark grayscale, and I think it's worked out super effective there with the markers and the pencil shading. I think the other one I coloured was the dark grayscale version as well, if I can find the other one I coloured. I did go through and mark all these, you wouldn't think, but yeah. And there we go. That is the other one that I've coloured, and I coloured this one again like my werewolf character with the blue hair, the lip piercing, yeah. And I did the wolf white, yeah, as I like to colour my wolves white. This one, markers and pencil shading again, I think. We can look, yeah, and again I've coloured the dark grayscale version. I do think it makes the colours pop really nicely when you colour the dark grayscale version. I don't know what you guys think. Do you guys prefer dark or light grayscale? I think looking at this I'm preferring the dark grayscale, but yeah, I'm really pleased with how she's turned out. Just markers with pencil shading, really pretty, quick and easy, simple. Hannah Lynn, really fun to do, quick and easy. So there we go, that one is from the Early Works Grayscale. This one I've had for a little bit longer, this one, the Enchanted Halloween. This is Hannah Lynn again. I've coloured a few in this one because it is quite an old book. I've had it for quite a while. And the first two, I've coloured both of these vampire ladies. And this one was the first one I did back in 2019, trying out using markers as a background and going in with pencil shading. So that's what I did on this one. There's a lot of white gel pen. I think I painted the background with coffee. An early foray into painting backgrounds with coffee. I've brought in some glitter glue for these cobwebs. Can we get that sparkling? Hard to tell whether it is or not, but yeah, there's some glitter glue, Dovecraft glitter glue on those cobwebs in the background there. And I did go ahead and colour the one behind. Oh, we do have some stick-on crystals, just mention those before we move on. I did go ahead and colour this second one a couple of years later, I think, and this is what we came up with a couple of years later. And yeah, I think you can see the change in my colouring style there. I've definitely gotten used to using the markers. Again, we have a marker base for the background. I think the lady herself is mainly pencils. I think that could be the Decotime pencils from B&M here in the UK. I've definitely improved with my hair, doing the hair flip back. Yeah, definitely a lot better, I think. I was really pleased with the improvement there. I really love how she's turned out. That was from, was that 2023 or something? 22, yeah, so a couple of years after the first one. Again, I've put some stick-on crystals and glitter glue here. Oh, and some collage, some paper collage. Did I? yeah, I cut out the triangle there, stuck some paper on the background. Can we see that? Yeah, paper stuck on the background there. And yeah, a very big improvement, I think, on the first one. Sorry, I think I bumped the camera again now. Quite a bit of an awkward setup I've got going on at the minute. It's hard to get into position properly, but here we go. There's another one I've coloured in here. I think this was for a Facebook group. I'm not entirely sure what the challenge was, to colour an autumn themed picture or an owl themed picture, something along those lines. But you can tell, yeah, another very early picture. Is my early style there. Should probably go ahead and colour the new one again, see what I can make of it a couple of years on. So yeah, that is another one. I think this was Xanacolor pencils with white gel pen, probably before I got my markers. Yeah, before I got my markers. Oh, it says there what it was. Won the banner ahead at competition Lost in Colouring UK October 2019. Oh, go me. Right, there we go. That was a banner in my Facebook group, apparently. I have actually coloured another one in here as well. That was this one, The Walk in the Woods. Yeah. I wanted to make this one look dark and mysterious. So I wanted the light to be coming from the lantern. For the rest of it, I used a lot of the black pencil for the shading. Even though normally I would not recommend using a black pencil for shading, I did use quite a lot here. I think I brought in gouache paint for the background, these trees, or gouache paint, I think. I can't remember if these spooky eyes were there. Were those there already? Yeah, the spooky eyes were there already. But I did use the gouache paint and tried to make sure the light was coming from the lantern. And I'm pretty sure this was for a purple lipstick kind of theme colouring on Instagram. Nirma Colouring, I think, it runs those with a purple lipstick. It could be blonde hair purple lipstick, I can't remember, but yeah, definitely a purple lipstick, so that's not normally something that I would do. And these two bats flying over the moon there, those are actually Halloween confetti that I had hanging around from a few years. So yeah, I put a couple of bats, I stuck those on with glue. Those little bats are confetti flying across the moon. So that is that one from Enchanted Halloween by Hannah Lynn. I also have a couple I haven't coloured in yet. This one is the Tattoo Darlings by Hannah Lynn. Again, I got these when Hannah was having her sale on Amazon, when she had all her books for £5. And I grabbed as many as I thought I would possibly colour in. So this one is the Tattoo Darlings, just giving a little bit of a flip through so you can see what's in there. I haven't coloured in that one. I have Maui Mermaids and Island Whimsy Girls. Again, not coloured in this one. There's a few kind of very quick sample pages. I'm sure we all know Hannah Lynn though. That one does have 50 designs in rather than 25 and being repeated. I also got the Mythic Maidens and Curious Creatures. So this one does have 25 of each, I think, if I'm remembering right. But yeah, any of them that I thought I might colour in, I did grab when Hannah Lynn was having her sale on Amazon. I do love my bargains. But there we go, Mythical Maidens and Curious Creatures, not coloured in yet. Kind of sad really how many books I do have that aren't coloured in. Next I'm moving on to my Lom Press books, or Lom Art books. There we go, these kind of ones. People have seen these, you know what I'm on about. This one is The Mystic Animals. This one is by Stratton Peterson. I think they do have different artists in these ones, but the paper and the kind of style of book are all the same. And this paper does tend to take the Super Tips used as watercolour. You can actually colour on the page and then come in with the water to blend out the ink. It does take that quite well. And the one I coloured in here was from last year, right? Yeah, we do have a bit of a mistake there where I ended up sticking some paper there, and when I took it off we did tear the page, so I'll have to go in and fix that, but that's no big deal really. This is the one that I did colour, and I was feeling like going in and fixing a page that had been already started, so I actually deliberately messed this one up by blindfolding myself and picking some random super tips, just scribbling on the page and going from there, seeing what I could make of it. This one is a video on the channel showing how I did that. It was really fun. This is what we've ended up with, just super tips, diluted with water, a little bit of pencil shading. I did go in and put some stick-on crystals on there after I'd finished filming. I think we went ahead with that and stuck those on, and I collaged in the middle. This bit here is collaged in. That's how I ended up sticking the pages together, but I collaged in that kind of what's the word? Oh, words. Galaxy. The galaxy in the middle there. I collaged that in and put a little bit of gold gel pen, I think, around the edges to make that stand out. So yeah, that was a fun little experiment there for that one. And that one is from Mystic Animals. I'm sorry, I do keep knocking the camera. I have the crystal colouring. This one is by Kate O'Hara, and I haven't coloured in this one, but you can see like the style, the kind of layout of the books is pretty much the same for all these Lawn Art books. And hopefully the paper, again, will take that Super Tips as watercolour sort of technique that I do love to do, but I haven't worked in that one yet. That is the crystal colouring. I have Nature's Magic, and these I've all gotten from the works and I've been on holiday. You can see that from the price stickers. This again is Stratton Peterson. I do have a work in progress in this one. This one is by the Super Tips as watercolours, but yeah, I wasn't too happy with how it was working, so that is the work in progress. Not sure if I'll go back and finish that one. Wasn't entirely happy with how it was working, although looking at it now, not terrible. I think I could probably fix it with some shading and stuff. So I have gold gel pen and white gel pen. Yeah, Super Tips used as watercolour. No idea which ones though, so I'll have to go in and experiment a little bit, see if I can find the same colours again. But that is the one that I've got that is a work in progress there. But as you can see, yeah, the paper does take the Super Tips as watercolour really, really well. Again, the same kind of style of book there. That's just got the one work in progress there. That is Nature's Magic. I have the Lunar colouring book. The Lunar colouring here. I do have one that I did last year in here. And these are all themed around the moon. Pictures in this book. Again, the same kind of style. And this is the one that I did. I did it last year. There we go, it's my 80s flamingos. As I said in my finished pages video, where this one was in, flamingos always remind me of the 80s, the kind of Club Tropicana with the flamingos and these tropical leaves. So I did change this one a little bit. I added in these leaves, painted out most of the background, and gave this kind of sunset gradient there. This was the moon in the background that I cut out, and I added some glitter paper. That is glitter paper. I'm not sure I'll be able to get it glittering, but oh, yeah, there we go. You can kind of see that is glitter paper in the background with a sort of gradient there that I thought fitted in with the rest of the colours. And Super Tips and water again. The flamingos were done with a pink highlighter. Those are really, really super neon pink. I'm not sure how well that will be showing up on the camera, but they are really, really super neon pink. I did use the neon green as well for these leaves. That wasn't working quite as well as the neon pink, so I had to go ahead and bring in the Super Tips after that for the flowers. There's some glitter gel pen and gold gel pen, and as I said, these leaves are kind of collaged in to cover up the curlicues and swirls that were in the corners that I wasn't really in the mood for colouring, but yeah, really pleased with how that one turned out. Really got that 80s vibe that I was going for, so that's the one I have coloured in Lunar colouring. That one is by Stratton Peterson again. And last from my Lawn Art books, I have the Tarot colouring book. This is by Alexis E. Thompson. I have one coloured in here and one work in progress, and this one is based on tarot cards with the main illustration in the middle, sometimes the border around the outside. Really, really nice. And this is the one that I did colour. Oh, was this for a theme of Earth Day, I think, and I picked the world to go with Earth Day. And I'm really, really not a fan of moths. If you ask anyone I know, I am terrified of moths, and yeah, it was quite hard for me to be colouring these. I was happy to be finishing with that. I tried to do them the same kind of colour as I think Atlas moths, are they? It does say in the description on the other side of the page. We do have a description sometimes telling you what's actually in the image, and I tried to colour them as the Atlas moths that did describe in the image there. Most of it is pencil, which is why it was taking quite a long time, and it was a bit of a labour of love towards the end, especially with all these kind of fern leaves around the outside. And then I did find out that the paper does take the Super Tip technique here for the tree, because I didn't want to colour all those leaves. I'm really not a fan of colouring trees in the best of times, but yeah, I just scribbled on a few shades of green, went in and shaded with a really dark green on top of that. Yeah, there's probably gold gel pen in there, I'm thinking, yeah, for these spots. Yeah, Really quite happy with how it turned out, even though it is moths I'm not a huge fan of. I do have kind of a work in progress as well that can barely be called a work in progress that I started as soon as I got the book, and it'll be, yeah, this one here. I just started colouring the goose with the pencils. Probably now I'd go in and maybe marker based things or bring in the super tips and see what I can get going with that. This paper, yeah, I love it when the paper takes the super tips as watercolour. But yeah, that is as far as I've gotten with that, just with one black pencil. I think it could have been the Castle Arts black or the Arteza black, something along those lines. Just starting with the Canada Goose there. And that's all I've coloured in the tarot colouring book. I really need to go into that one, but I'll say that about all of the books probably. Okay, next we're moving on to Shadowscapes by Stephanie Law. I've done a couple in this one. One was last year, and this one was a work in progress that I finished. I've showed this one a couple of times, but I'll pop up a screenshot here of what it looked like before I started working on it. And it was the background. I wasn't too happy with that one. I didn't like the way those splashes were looking, not quite natural enough. I hadn't really refined my technique enough to be doing that really, and I wanted to fix that. So I'll show you what we ended up with, and this one is a video on the channel showing how I did fix this page. There we are, from last year. It has a tag on it. And yeah, I just brought in these butterfly wings from the colouring book that I did mention before. I think the butterfly colouring book. I slotted those in, finished off the rest of the image with pencils, added in these circles with some gold ink in the background, and I think I added in a couple of these butterflies as well just to fill up the space, make the picture look a little more balanced. I might have brought in a white gel pen here, I think, going for the monarch spots around the edges of the butterfly wings there, but yeah, that is that one. I've shown a few times, so I won't really dwell on that one. And I do have one in here I did with Castle Arts of watercolour pencils, I think this one is, because the pictures in this book really look as if they would suit watercolour, but unfortunately the paper didn't agree. Yeah, the paper didn't agree very well at all. I'm not sure if that's because I went a bit overboard with my water, or whether the paper really doesn't like water in the first place, but yeah, it didn't like those pencils, so yeah, that was a bit of a bust. But I did add some glitter to try and sparkle things up to make things better. Glitter make things better, right? Yeah, we do have the glitter in the background there. We have a little stick-on crystal. The rest is Castle Arts watercolour pencils, giving those a bit of a try in the book. And yeah, the illustrations really suit watercolour, which is so annoying because, yeah, it really would be nice to be able to colour with watercolour in the book. Maybe I'll try watercolour and keep the water really to a minimum, see what I can get away with there. But yeah, that is the one I've coloured in the Shadowscapes colouring book. I have one in Colour My Sketchbook 2 by Bennett Klein. This one I managed to grab off of eBay, so I was quite happy with that until I tried the paper, and the paper really wasn't working with my pencils. And these pictures are all really quite detailed. They would really look good being coloured with the pencils, but the paper is really shiny and I couldn't get the pencils to work and layer, and couldn't get that to work at all, so I ended up bringing in lots of collage on the one that I did finish in this book, which is this one here. I've also shown a couple of times as an altered page, I think. And I ended up covering most of the top of this fairy's head here. She had a really big headdress on, really detailed headdress. I ended up covering that with lots of pink flowers and giving her my own little version of a headdress. I added in a couple of little butterflies. I did press on and finish her skin with markers and pencils. Her wings have a marker base, but then I went in with some glitter glue around the edges. That would be the Dovecraft glitter glue. I stuck on some text, as I do like to stick on some text when I do my collages, and we have some little stick-on crystals. Also something I can't resist most of the time, but yeah, mostly collage in that one. I think there's some gold Sharpie, yeah, for her dress and for her glasses, I think. And gel pen. I did the frame in the background with gel pen. So yeah, that's how I coped with that one, and the paper not being very good in there. I'm going to have to try and come up with some ideas in that one to get past the paper. I have a couple of books by Zan von Zed. I have Ladies of Leisure. I have 1 and 2. I think this is the first one. Yeah, number 1. I've coloured a couple in this one. I think one of them was last year. yeah, this one was last year. Also one I've shown a couple of times, so I won't dwell on this too much. One that I actually adapted from the picture that was there. I turned into Katniss from the Hunger Games, basing it on the DVD or poster art for the Hunger Games for Katniss there. She is markers and pencils with collage for the background here and some washi tape as a frame to neaten off some edges. I think I used some acrylic markers to add in a few details as well, to give Katniss her bow and arrows and the Mockingjay pin. And yeah, really quite happy. That was for a challenge on a Facebook group to colour a literary character or a fictional character. And I made my own little fictional character rather than taking the easy way. I usually like to make things difficult for myself. But that is the lady I coloured as Katniss. I do have another one in here. Which one do I have in here? Oh yeah, this one. I coloured probably about a year ago now for February Sci-Fi month. 2 years ago. What do you know? And I tried to give her a kind of sci-fi feel with this one and made her hair look neon. The colours have faded a little bit now. I think it was a lot more neon than I'm actually seeing there. And this picture is where I actually found out that the black from Ohuhu does actually yellow the pages. I'm not sure if that will be showing up, but it has yellowed the pages underneath there. So usually I have pieces of paper either side of this one. I've just took out to film the video, but yeah, each side we do have the yellowing going on with the Ohuhu black marker, which was a little bit irritating, but yeah, knocking the camera, sorry. Yeah, but there we go. There's that one that I've coloured in the Ladies of Leisure. She's markers with pencil shading. Moving on to Ladies of Leisure 2, we also have one in here that I coloured last year, and we have one that I actually traced out. It should be in my PDF folder, but it's still in the book, so I will show it there. The first one I've coloured is the first one in the book. This lady here. I think the background I did with Super Tips as watercolour. The rest of her is it markers? Yeah, is markers with the pencil shading on top. I think I used the Crayola Colours of the World, is it called? The kind of skin tone pencil set for her horns there. The rest is probably Arteza and Castle Arts. I tried to give her corset here a kind of a rough leather sort of looking texture, and then I brought in this gold for the frame, trying to keep to a subtle sort of natural colour palette there. And I think she's turned out really nice. Next we have the one that I did trace out. She's a video on the channel showing how I did this one. This lady here, who should be in the PDF folder, but she isn't. There we go, she's on the wall. That's probably why I took her off the wall and just left her in here. But yeah, she's based on the TV series and the video game of Fallout, of which I'm a big fan of Fallout. So this was after watching the TV series, and I traced off a picture from the book. There we have the picture from the book, you can see there. And it does show in the video how I did it. I traced out that lady and turned her into a character from Fallout. I gave her the costume from the TV series. I added in the door in the background. That's kind of a symbol, iconic symbol for the game. And I stuck her onto this brown kind of paper background that I've grunged up a little bit, because Fallout is kind of post-apocalyptic, where everything is all grungy and used looking. So yeah, I went with that kind of used, rusty looking background there. Did my little Vault Dweller Fallout lady. And that's one I really enjoyed doing. She's a video on the channel, as I said. That was one that I did do this year. Yeah, she is marked. I have a couple more in here. Yeah, we have this one. And this one was using a couple of bits of kids kind of stationery items that my other half bought me from supermarket when he was on the way back from work. I had some child's really cheap felt tip pens that I used, and some Crayola crayons. And this paper, as you can tell, yeah, it really didn't like the water either. So yeah, it's probably not a great idea to be using in this book, but it was a bit of an experiment. It was fun. She has a video on the channel, I think, showing how I used those kind of child's art supplies. I remember having a lot of trouble blending these crayons. Yeah, that was very tricky. I've learned a few tips there with people leaving comments, so yeah, please leave helpful tips and stuff in the comments. I really do appreciate that. I want to try blending crayons again using those tips that I was given, but as a little limited palette, very cheap supply sort of colouring, she turned out really well, I think. I did add in some gold gel pen and some white gel pen as a little kind of cheaty extra, but mainly just kids' cheap art supplies on that one. And one more apparently. Oh, I remember what this is. Yep, this is basically just testing those child's art supplies. I tested them on this back page here to see how they would work, and yeah, it's wrinkled here as well. The paper really didn't like too much water. But yeah, I'm not sure if I will go ahead and finish that, but I've marked it as a work in progress anyways because there is some work done on this page. I just thought I'd show that as well. So that is from Ladies of Leisure 2. Sam Von Z. I do like Sam Von Z. I really like his kind of stylized ladies there. The next one we're moving on to, Curiously Cute Manga. I've put most of my kind of Dada Maya books all together, and this one is kind of anime manga themed, so I thought that would fit in with my Dada Maya books. This is one I haven't actually coloured in yet. I just grabbed it from the works when it was £5, and some of these pictures really, really nice. There's a couple in here I really wanted to colour, so it was worth picking up the book for that. And that one's really nice. There is another couple in here as well I really want to colour. But yeah, not one I have coloured in yet. One I do want to colour because there's some really nice pictures in there. I'm not sure who the artist is actually. Does it say who the artist is? It does have some designed by there, if we can see those names. I'm not going to try and pronounce them. Zoe Bradley, I can say that one. John Bigwood. I'm not sure how to pronounce that first name. Cover design by Angie Allison. I'm not sure which one of those is the artist, but that is the Curiously Cute manga colouring book. Next, as I thought would also fit in with this theme of books we're going with here, this is by Dada Chow, I think. Muses, also released as Mystique, I think. I got this one from Book Depository before it closed, so I can't really recommend where to buy it from. I do have a couple in here. This one is one that I did last year, and that will not be showing up on the camera. I couldn't get it to work when I did my finished pages, but this is done with highlighter pens. So these colours are bright neon highlighter yellow, highlighter pink. Yeah, this is a 2-page spread that I did using office supplies, the kind of supplies that you maybe find in work. Even though I don't work in an office, I based it on the kind of supplies that we actually have in work in our little office area where the paperwork gets done. So basically there was a drawing pencil, a black biro, that's a ballpoint pen, a biro, ballpoint pen. There is a black Sharpie, highlighter pens, sticky notes in pink and yellow, and these are little dots. We use them to mark on the calendar when people are off work or when things are coming up that we need to be aware of, and the only ones I could find on Amazon were blue. So I went with those, and yeah, I'm really pleased with how those turned out. I think, is it this lady that's a video on the channel? I can't remember. One of them is a video on the channel showing how I was using those kind of office supplies to colour in a colouring book, and I think they worked out pretty well. So if ever I'm stuck at work with a colouring book, I will know that I can actually get stuff done. And there we go. And I have a work in progress in this one as well. It's been a work in progress for a while. That's this one here, and I was basing her on the singer Prince. Yeah, I really like how she's turning out, but I think this gold wasn't working too well and the paper was starting to tear a little bit, and that's what's putting me off trying to finish that. I think I was doing that with the Brutfunner pencils, if I'm remembering right. There's not really that much left to do, just do the flowers, give a background. I could easily finish that one off really, but for now she is a work in progress. Really like how she's turning out. So yeah, those are the ones that are from the Muses book. We also have a Find Colour by Googly, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. There's a few in here that are kind of classed as works in progress, mainly because I started working on a picture with a dragon. I'll show that one, which is still a work in progress. This one here. This is with watercolour, white gel pen and white ink, I think. That's all I was using on there. I did try shading with pencils on this lotus flower here. They weren't working super well because they were Castle Arts and Arteza. I have since found out that Prismacolors work okay on this paper, so going forward that's probably what I'll be using. But because I was using this watercolour here, it soaked through into where the pages are all kind of sewn in, the binding there, and I have a few that I've had to go in with watercolour and make it look as if that's meant to be there. All these splotches are meant to be there. So yeah, these are technically works in progress, I suppose, with the just with the blue watercolour soaking through. That is the work in progress that I do have. Technically the main work in progress, this is the work in progress that I have. Try and make sense. Yeah, that is the work in progress. The others are just works in progress because I have to work in that blue watercolour and make it work. The one I have finished in here is one that I did last year, and she's a video on the channel. Just get rid of the bookmark. She's a video on the channel using watercolour and Prismacolor pencils, and this is where I figured out the Prismacolor pencils do work on this paper pretty well. Yeah, I shaded on top of the watercolour with Prismacolors, did most of the lady with Prismacolors, I think. This background is watercolour. I brought in some gold gel pen and some little stick-on crystals. So yeah, that's how that one turned out. Another gorgeous book. If anybody hasn't seen this one, flip through a couple of other pages. Some of them really detailed. The paper is a bit odd to be working on because it feels like it should be watercolour paper, but it isn't quite. Watercolour doesn't work exactly as it works on watercolour paper. You can make it work, but it's not quite the same as watercolour paper, and pencils are a bit picky with it as well. As I said, Prismacolor, I've found other ones that work in that book, so if anyone has that book, then Prismacolor, yeah, they're the pencils to go for if you want to use pencils. That is Find Colour by Gugali. Next we have Flowers and Sweet Girls. This is by Dada Mao. I do have a few books here by Dada Mao. I'll just show a few little pictures from this one. It is what the title says, really, Flowers and Sweet Girls. Yeah, quite a few different flowers, different style kind of manga sort of ladies there. And the one that I did finish in this one was a work in progress. I'll pop up a picture here, what it looked like before I went into it. And I did start it with the cheap watercolour pencils that I bought. I thought I could work in a couple of books with those, and there were a lot of work to be getting any kind of colour going there. There wasn't a lot of pigment in them. It was, as I said, a lot of work, and that's why I put that one to the side. That's how she was when I put it to the side. I think that was in November when my theme was poppies, year before last. So that is how she ended up, and I'll show you what we finished her off like. Here we go. It's one of my favourites, coloured pictures as well that I've done. I finished her off as this little witch here. Yeah, the flowers, these flowers I think is about all that was coloured on there. And I tried to just do a little bit more shading on those. And for the rest of it, I came in with a marker base. I'm not too fussed about these kind of kimono dresses on the back of the images. My main concern is the big illustration, so I wasn't too fussed about losing that. So I went in with my markers and then did some pencil shading, and yeah, pretty much it. I tried to give her hair a kind of ombre, sort of pastel look, a little bit of an experiment, and I wasn't quite sure it would work with the kind of witchy vibe and the red, but it did. It really worked. I gave her some sparkly kind of manga pastel hair, and it really worked. I was super chuffed with how it turned out. All these stars that I've stuck onto her dress, those are star stickers. There was big ones and small ones. I kind of made a pattern with the big and small stars, and I was really happy how that turned out. The background I think I tried painting some circles with hand gel onto a marker base. It works okay. I wouldn't say it's something I'd probably go for again. I had to work on top with pencils as well to get those kind of bubbles going on in the background. And yeah, all in all, pretty pleased with it. It was a lot easier once I decided to abandon the idea of the watercolour pencils and just go in with my usual markers and pencils and just get that finished off. So really pleased that one is finished. There we go. That one is from Flowers and Sweet Girls by Dada Mao. And then I have these ones. These are probably ones we've all seen from AliExpress and stuff like that. These are the Dada Mao books, ancient Chinese colouring books. They all have different names. I'm not entirely sure what they are. I've done translations on some of them, I think. So we'll start from the top. See if I can remember what I wrote down for these ones. This one I've apparently written down as Ancient Beauty. So this one is called Ancient Beauty. I've done a few in here. I'll try and give a bit of a snapshot as I've been saying. That's a picture I've done. The kind of pictures that you will find in here. These kind of Japanese, oriental looking people with the costumes. They're gorgeous pictures. Yeah, really gorgeous pictures. And this one does have the single-sided pages. And I've coloured a couple in this one, apparently. This is one of them. She was a work in progress that I did finish. It wasn't last year, though. I'm not sure I've got a picture from before I actually went into her. But basically all I'd done is do a marker base on her skin and on her hair. I think she was going to be a pastel colour sort of challenge. And I don't know why I keep trying to do those. I never end up finishing pictures. I start with pastel colours, but I tried to brighten up the colours a little bit, and I think I'd put it to the side as well because the marker was looking a little bit blotchy on this paper and I wasn't quite sure how to fix that. But I went in with some pencil shading and I think I have managed to fix most, if not all of it there. I did use some metallic watercolour for the top of her kimono or dress there. Yep, you see there's some metallic watercolour there for the purple and the gold. For the sleeves, I dabbed on some white gouache paint, I think, to make it look kind of cloudy or marbly, to try and disguise that splotchiness that was coming through in the markers. Her sleeves here are washi tape with gold gel pen drawn over the top. There is some collage on this ribbon. I think I stuck those, actually cut those out and stuck them on. And on her belt here, where I cut out the piece of the paper there. And and I put the collage paper behind there. So there's two different kinds of collage paper there. The rest is marker with pencil shading. I've seen the marker base there when I flipped over. Yeah, I've put in the marker base. Pencil shading over the top. This is coffee and we have some gold gel pen. This could be gold Sharpie actually as well for that lace in her mouth there. And yeah, that's about it for that one. Happy to get it finished because she was a work in progress for quite a while, that one. Is this the next one? Yeah, could be the next one. This is a video on the channel. I think I did that one last year. Yeah, that was one from last year. This is my coffee splash painting, which is quite nerve-wracking, where I mixed up some instant coffee in a little kind of a lid, poured it onto the page and just splashed it to get this kind of splash of coffee. And the idea is, I'd seen people doing this with coffee splash art, where the area where the coffee is, where the splash is, that is where they draw. But how I worked it was I splashed it onto the page and the area where the coffee is, that was where I coloured. So yeah, I think that's ended up working quite well. Unfortunately the white, my white pencil doesn't seem to work very well on top of the coffee, so my planned white flowers aren't quite as white as I would like them. But all in all, I think the effect works really well. I really did have fun kind of playing inside all these kind of splashy outlines. I've added in some stick-on crystals. I think all I did was a shade with pencil on top of that coffee splash there with some white gel pen and some stick-on crystals, and that's all we ended up using for that one, and she has a video on the channel. Really pleased with the kind of effect we've got there. I wanted to keep it with the red and the black and the gold to give it that kind of ancient Chinese, Japanese sort of art look to it, and I think it's worked quite well with that coffee as a sort of parchmenty colour background. So yeah, there's that one, and it looks like I have one more in this book. Oh yeah, we have this one. This one is done mainly all with watercolours, pretty much. I think that was the W.H. Smith watercolours. And this was for a Facebook group as well. And the challenge was to show a picture that had the weather in it. And this one originally didn't have the weather in it, but I made it rain outside the window. I added all the rain in with the white gel pen, a few little drips on the edges of this window here. And yeah, really happy with how it turned out. I think there was a limited palette as well. I think there was only like 3 or 4 different colours of watercolour that I used in that one. A kind of blue, grey, black, kind of yellow ochre and this sort of crimson red. That's all I used, and white gel pen, and yeah, really like the kind of harmonious sort of limited palette on that one. I think it works really, really well. and the rain. I could probably do that a little bit better now, but yeah, at the time I was really super pleased with my rain. And yeah, that is the last one that I coloured in. That one, I've written down the title of that one is Ancient Beauty, but it's the one with the kind of bright blue, kind of ultramarine sort of writing on it there. Next, we're moving on to this one, which I've written down is called Nights of the Drunken River or Nights on the Drunken River. One of the two. I could be completely wrong with that, but this is what the cover looks like, and this is a kind of very dark purpley blue kind of writing there. I haven't coloured in this one, I don't think. This one is one that has most of the pages being double page spreads, which is probably why I haven't coloured in this one. So there we go, same kind of. Oh, I have coloured in this one. There we go. I have coloured in this one and he's not marked. I need to get a tag and mark him. But this is one that I just did with watercolour. There we go, so I don't forget him again. I will give him a little orange tag there. Yeah, this one was done just with watercolour. And again, this was a limited palette that I gave myself. And the theme for this one was, I think it was a bit of a challenge or a scavenger hunt kind of thing where you had to colour a picture with a man. And these books by Dada Mao, they do tend to have a lot of men in, men and women. So I picked this man here and I coloured him with a limited palette of, I think this is the dark blue again, and the kind of earthy sienna brown and yellow ochre. There might be a little bit of a very light blue there as well. And that is mainly just the watercolour and white gel pen. I don't think there's even any pencil shading on that one. So I'm hoping his colours are showing up very well for you guys there. Just watercolour. Yeah, in these books, the watercolour does work really, really well. The paper really seems to fit it somehow, and it doesn't leak through to the other side. No, it doesn't leak through to the other side. So I do like using watercolours in these books. And that's one I did in this one, which I believe is called Nights of the Drunken River. This one, I think, is called Mountain and Sea Dreams of Deities or something along those lines. This is what the front cover looks like. It's the one with the turquoise kind of writing there on the front. I've done a couple in this one. Again, we're back to the single sides on this one. This is all kind of mythical creatures, I think. Kind of legendary Chinese or Japanese sort of creatures. And I've done a couple in this one. Yep, I've done this one here. And for this one, I painted all of the background with coffee and sprinkled on some grains or granules to get this kind of mottling in the background there. And the girl herself, I stuck to some really limited palette with the blue and the swallows and the skin tones with a little bit of this kind of sagey green for the leaves. It looks like I've used a silver gel pen for the actual branches of the flowers there. And I probably came in with some gouache paint there to paint the signature. I think that's, I don't read Chinese or Japanese or whatever language that is. So I believe that's the signature, the person who drew it. But I went in with the red to colour that in. And the rest, yeah, limited palette paint. There was some glitter on her, kind of wings on her head there. Am I getting that glittering? I hope I am. It's hard to decide where it's going to shine from there. I think we are glittering a little bit there. But I think, yeah, that's worked really well with the whole page being mainly that coffee colour to give that sort of ancient manuscript sort of feel to it. And I like the subdued sort of colour palette there, limited palette. And I've done one more in here. Dude, if I remember. Yeah, here we go. This dude here. And I can't remember if these mountains were actually in the background or if it was just the dude himself, the guy in the middle there. But I think I added in the frame, if nothing else. And I've tried to colour the background as if it's kind of a kind of golden relief, sort of carved out of gold or cast out of gold in the background there for this mountain scene, which I can't remember was there already or not. I'm sorry, I might have drawn that in. And pencils, I think, mainly for this one. Yeah, we are back before I had my big marker set, I think. Yeah, 2020, back before I had my marker set. So this guy is all in Castle Arts pencils from the looks of him. Yeah, especially this background. That's definitely my Castle Arts combination for gold in the background there. So yeah, that's him, that guy there. That one is from Mountain and Sea Dreams of Deities. And I believe this is the last one I have. If I do find any others, I'll tag them onto the next video. But I also have this one, which is called Magical Creature. I've written down that this one is called. And again, I think this one does seem to have a few of the legendary kind of characters or deities in. That's the kind of pictures that we have. And the one I coloured, yep, this one here, the monkey spirit, I think. This one does have a picture of the animal on one side, I think. Yeah, the animal that matches with the creature on the other page, a phoenix matches with this phoenix lady, for instance, or what's this one, peacock, and that guy must be a peacock kind of based guy. This one was a monkey, so we do have a monkey on that side, and I coloured this one with Super Tips as watercolour. This one, she was a whip for a while. If I can find a picture of what she did look like, I will pop that up here. I'm not sure I still have one. And she was a whip for a while, I think, because I wasn't sure of what colour to do things. But in the end, I just dove in and did it whatever colour I sort of felt right at the time. I do like the way that this blue has kind of bled out into the pinky sort of tones in the background. And yeah, I do really like the way she's turned out. I like the colours on the peach here, which is, yeah, looking really funky. I think she's got some stick-on crystals. Yep, stick-on crystals there for her armour and stuff. And yeah, pretty much that one, just the Super Tips, I think. I don't think there's even any pencil shading. There is some gold Sharpie. I've just spotted the gold Sharpie there. We do have that in there, but everything else, Super Tips as watercolour. And I think I might have made a bit of a mistake with the blue. Yeah, the blue has seeped through into the binding here. We can see that. So there will be a bit of fixing upping going in the beginning of this book. But that is the one I've coloured in here. And the last one for this video, this one is Girls with Music by Momo Girl. And yeah, this is another book that kind of intimidates me a little bit. I have coloured one picture in here, but I'll show you a couple, few of the other actual pictures we do have in here. Yeah, this is Momo Girl kind of style. As you can see, very detailed, very gorgeous images that I really don't want to be messing up at all. I did go ahead and colour one, which is this lady here. It took absolutely ages, I remember, and I was so scared of messing this up that, yeah, it really intimidated me. Because there was art on the back of this one there, we can see there was a picture on the back. I didn't really want to bring in markers or anything that was going to leak through, so this is mainly pencils. All of this kind of hair and black feathers, her clothes, the flowers, everything is pencil with some metallic watercolour coming through in the background, a silver, light silver and a dark silver closer to black, sort of metallic watercolour. Again, I tried to keep the palette pretty limited. I have splashed on some pink watercolour as well, and see those in the background there. We can't quite get it all on screen, I think. That might be close enough. Yeah, that's as best we're going to get. I've splashed on the pink watercolour, as I said. There is silver watercolour in the background there. The rest coloured pencils, Castle Arts and Arteza, I think. That was before I had my polychromos or anything like that. And yeah, really, really, really super happy with how she turned out, even though those feathers were a real labour of love towards the end. I was just super happy with how she turned out. She does have some little stick-on crystals. Because she's pretty close to the beginning of the book, so it shouldn't be causing too much of a problem with colouring pages in front of there, if I pad it out well enough. I think I did go around the edge with a gold Sharpie, but yeah, most of that one is a pencil, and that is where I'm going to be finishing this episode, I think, of the colouring book collection. Hopefully I have picked up all of my Dada Maya books there and had them all in the same section, but if not, as I said, I will tack them onto the next video. I do have some more kind of A4 size books. I have some more kind of oddly sized books, and of course my big square books that I'm going to have to add on into another section, and then my PDF folder. So we still have a ways to go, I think, with this colouring book collection, but hopefully that's been of interest to you guys today. Hopefully you've enjoyed following me through this little section of my colouring book collection. If you have enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Take care everyone, and I'll see you in future videos. Bye!